Hello, everyone. Andy Jacob here with the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series. I have a very, very fascinating show today. You know, we talk all the time on the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series with so many founders and CEOs, and we always talk about planning for the future, budgeting for the future, forecasting and reporting for your company's future. And we always talk about what it takes to be the most efficient and accurate planning and reporter that you possibly can be as a CEO, because it's just so important to create that planning, budget, and forecasting for the future of a company. That's what it's all about. Well, so many people said to me, Andy, why don't you reach out to someone that really understands this from the perspective of how they build a software to how they provide that software to companies that then can use the software to do all this planning and budgeting. So, of course, I went into the Rolodex, and I've been able to invite on the show Mr. John Murdock, who is the CEO of Centage. And let me tell you, this company is remarkable. They've got a planning Maestro software. We're going to get into it. But if you really want to plan and budget correctly and then use forecasting software and reporting to take your company from A to B, I've got the right guy on the show with the right company to talk about it. John, thanks so much for coming on the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today.
Hey, Andy, thank you so much for having me. Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to connect. I've been looking forward to this as well. So thanks.
This is super great. John, let's pull the lens back, as we always do, to 30,000 feet and tell us about the company.
Yeah, so Centage is a software company. I think you captured it really well. We focus on working with small and mid-sized businesses to help them really streamline, automate, and get more out of their budgeting, planning, and financial forecasting processes. So we provide the software and some great people to kind of help small and mid-sized businesses get more from their software and really reach out into the future as much as they can and steer their businesses to success.
I love it. It makes all the sense in the world. You know, as business people and entrepreneurs, obviously, that come on the show all the time, John, we're always talking about planning for the future. You know, we're always talking about how do we budget correctly? How do we forecast where the company's going to go from now until, 6 months from now or a month from now or a year from now, and then getting reports that really are accurate and efficient with what the company is doing. And that's what your company at Centage has been able to do with what you call the Planning Maestro software. Now, something that's very interesting is I know from my research, you have over 10,000 customers using your Planning Maestro software. So it's really, really interesting. So let's encapsulate it a little bit more. What does the software do? What types of companies are using the software right now, John?
Yeah, so what our software does, and certainly nobody can predict the future, and you can't see what's coming, but we help businesses to become more agile in their planning process. And to do that, you really need to have an ongoing, continuous process for making decisions around the business, whether that's investments that you want to make or budget for, whether that's your revenue forecast, whether that's your cost and cost control. So our software integrates in with financial systems. So typically the general ledger, and we have about 20 different partners today that we work with. We integrate in with their financial system so that we can kind of keep track of actuals. And then we provide their finance teams and their budget owners and leaders the ability to use our software to really start to predict and plan for what may happen in the months or years or quarters ahead. And so essentially we replace a lot of what lives today in Excel or Google Sheets or manual processes and bring that into a centralized system. We bring a lot of automation around the financial intelligence for those budgeting decisions. So clearly every business runs on cash and cash flow. So as you're making a budgeting decision, whether it's to hire or to invest, or you're expecting cash from some revenue streams, what we help to do is really kind of project out the cash flow and the impact to your business for those investments, and help you and help our customers really get a handle on how that affects, kind of the financial projections. So as they're working through all their budgeting decisions and making all of those changes in the system, we're handling all the financial treatment and showing them what that does to their income statement, their balance sheet projections, and their cash flow projections.
That's awesome. So your system integrates with the software that they're using for their accounting, and it integrates seamlessly. And I really like that so much. And of course, it's all about cash flow. We talk about that all the time on the show. So when we think about a company like yours that has, more than 10,000 users, and of course the testimonials are remarkable. I've been reading through some of the testimonials, leading up to the show today, and people just love using, your program. Let's talk about the types of companies that reach out and say, hey, we want this performance opportunity that Centage is, software provides. Are they startup companies, small companies, mid-sized companies, Fortune 100 companies? Who's reaching out to use this powerful software that you've developed?
Yeah, so we do work with businesses that tend to have small finance teams. So they've reached a point where they have enough scale, enough revenue, and maybe enough people where this type of agility and is needed inside the business. There's just too many moving pieces. So we see our customers tend to be over 5 or 10 million in revenue, and maybe up to 50 to 100 million. And there's just a lot of businesses predominantly in the US where we focus, that kind of fit, in that end of the market. And they have small finance teams, they have small operational teams and analyst teams. So they're really turning to software to help really augment and help their people get more done and really add value to their business. We work in a variety of different verticals, but we have several that are larger than others in that customer base you mentioned. So we work with a lot of tech companies, a lot of healthcare related services companies. Nonprofits are also a big vertical for us, and manufacturing. So those are kind of our big verticals where we have a lot of concentration of customers. And if you think about what all of those industries have in common, is there's typically either a lot of people or a lot of products or a lot of costs and expenses for the products and services that they deliver. And as you add that up in a 10, 20, 50, $100 million business, the decisions, become more and more frequent for a business in terms of, how do they continue to move the business forward? And so, so our software helps to really enable, that as they're growing and they're building, we're giving them software to help, small finance teams get the job done and get it done quickly. So
I love it. And everybody needs things to be done quickly and seamlessly right now. So when someone reaches out to Centage, who is reaching out? Is it typically the CEO of the company, John, or is it the CFO or some combination thereof?
Yeah, we're typically working with the CFO or, in some cases, a controller, a VP of finance is the most senior ranking finance person. We also have quite a few customers that use, outsourced CFOs and partial, CFOs to support their business and accounting firms. So, but it's predominantly in that, that office of the CFO, and, they're really looking to, kind of streamline things, and really take things out of spreadsheets, out of documents, and into a process and into an automated approach. And, the last year and a half, no surprise, has been, challenging for many companies working remotely. And, a lot of these manual processes that you could do on a network in an office have now moved to, to the cloud and to, into virtually, can be done virtually anywhere. And so we're seeing a lot of interest and a lot of demand from that, and it seems to be continuing this year. And the future is bright for helping the office of the CFO and automate their business and get more agile.
Well, you've done such a great job making so many companies more agile with your software. It's really remarkable. You've won so many awards as well. We'll get into that in a little bit. But, we talk a lot on the show, John, about companies that listen to their customers. So do you have some examples or do you have some moments along the path, along the journey where some customers have reached out to you and they said to you, John, or a member of your team, we've got some ideas to maybe make this a little bit more robust. We've got some ideas to make this better. Or there's some things that maybe we need that maybe, you might want to think about adding to the next evolution of the software. So how do you handle that interaction with your customers that request more of the software?
Yeah, so we have it's a great question. I mean, so we have a very, very good customer success team. So every customer will get assigned to, someone from that customer experience and success organization to work with, typically in the beginning when they have questions about implementing the software or getting their model set up just right. They'll work with one of our customer success folks. And then we'll have, if we can and they're willing, we'll have quarterly or biannual check-ins and, help them get more and more out of the investment that they've made. So they have someone that they can call at any time and seek help. And we've also invested quite a bit in a lot of our training, documentation, and support around, the software, not just to use our software, but also to think about best practices and things that they can do to take their planning and budgeting to the next level of accuracy and to continue to just kind of streamline. I mean, it's really about, it's really about taking time out of the process. Small businesses are super, super busy. And small business finance teams are extremely busy. And as businesses grow, the finance teams aren't usually the first ones to get headcount and to get people. So they end up getting more and more tasks assigned to them. So, I think our job is, really to help them automate and streamline and really take a lot of the time out so that they're not having to work nights and weekends and stress out about, supporting the business. And so, I think that's really a lot of the value that we bring is helping to streamline this, giving folks their time back and also giving them peace of mind that, they don't have to worry about, errors or problems in the model. I just met with a customer this week who, had before coming, to work with us, they had 20 different spreadsheets that were essentially their model and their budget and spread across the company. And they found some errors recently and, that caused some bad decisions to be made because there's some errors in the roll up of that. And, that's a common thing over and over when you're working in a distributed environment with separate files. So, I think we help to kind of bring that peace of mind. We help take some time out of the process and automate things. And, I think that's why customers love working with us and we love working with them.
I love it. You talk about this peace of mind. This year, once again, your company ranked as an overall leader in both customer experience and vendor credibility by the 2021 Dresner Advisory Service Awards. So congratulations on that. That's a real big feather in your cap, and you continue to win those awards. So let's talk a little bit about corporate culture because, corporate culture always starts at the top. So what's it like as a CEO, knowing that there's just so many companies that are depending on your software to deliver the type of seamless experience for their financial for their financial outcomes? What does that feel like as the CEO, knowing that your software is really so important to so many companies, making those companies work and function and move forward in a positive way?
Yeah, it's an honor, honestly, to be able to, support businesses. I mean, we're a small business ourselves. So, I understand it. Running a business is not easy. There's, sleepless nights and weekends and, in endless amounts of stressful moments. And so I think it's an honor to kind of serve other businesses. And, I think that's the leadership I bring is, kind of servant leadership. And I think that's the culture that's emerged here as well as, we're really here to help customers. And we hire and recruit people who love working with and helping and supporting. It's probably why we have a lot of nonprofits that we support. So it certainly is an honor and also stressful, right? I mean, supporting that many businesses and their financial outcomes is certainly stress, but we handle it well. And I think we've built a really, really strong team and very proud of the work we're doing.
I love it. It's so fantastic because, oftentimes when we talk to software companies, they forget about the customer. It's all about the software this and the software that. And it's so refreshing from your standpoint coming to me through the screen that I'm hearing that your customers are just so important to you and they're paramount to the entire team's success, and your entire company is really positioned not only, of course, to provide this powerful, very capable software that's very quick to set up and easy to use to your customers, but also they think about the people behind it, and they think about what those decisions in terms of the financial projections can bring to those companies and those companies' people and their families. And that's really a beautiful way to run a software business. So I wanted to congratulate you on that. That's fantastic.
Thank you. And it's not just me. I mean, I think it is part of the way, part of our culture here. I mean, we call ourselves Maestros, and we really pride ourselves in our approach to working with customers. So yeah, it's part of who we are, and I think our team are why I can stand up here and have this pride. So yeah,
I love it. It's great pride. It comes through the Centage Planning Maestro software provided by the planning maestros at the company. And I love that so much. And you have such a great team that really provides this software to, your thousands of customers that love to use this software, in their C-level suite and their executive suite, the CFOs and the like, using this software to help them get to where they're going in a very powerful way. Let's talk a little bit about entrepreneurship, John, because you're a very fascinating entrepreneur. Your background is very, very interesting. And we do get some younger entrepreneurs watching the show that, might be watching it. They're saying, wow, I'm watching John. I'm listening to this great sort of team that he's built at Centage. I'm listening to this software. They're award winners. They have over 10,000 companies using the software. Has this guy, John, ever had a problem? And they might be saying that. And, younger entrepreneurs, sometimes they hit those potholes in the road. Sometimes they hit, a wall that they can't get over. Sometimes they hit a challenge, and sometimes they might freak out a little bit. So maybe you have some advice or words of wisdom to the younger entrepreneurs watching the show that maybe are being faced with a challenge in their own business to help them get through that pothole to come out the other side in a very powerful way.
Yeah. I would say, first of all, if you think you're alone going through the situation, you're not. I mean, so the obstacles that you face, and, you're going to wake up every day as an entrepreneur, a CEO, president running a business, and there'll be 10 problems that you need to go address, and everyone is in that same situation. So, first I would say, build a community around you so that you can get perspective that, yeah, your problems might be a little bit different or unique to your industry, but, we're all going through different things at different times. So having some perspective first helps. Like, okay, it's not just, my company or what's happening here. There'll be challenges. And when those challenges are solved, there'll be others that pop up, which leads to, what's really served me well is, it's not the obstacle. It's what lies, beyond it. So focusing on the path ahead and not hyper focusing on the obstacle or the big boulder that's in the road in front of you at the moment. Yeah, you want to solve that. You want to find a way around, but focusing, really, on getting past it and is really a mindset that you need to bring. If you hyper focus on every single, boulder and rock that shows up in the road, you're not going to get very far. So keep focusing on the path ahead, keep pushing, surround yourself with great people inside and outside the company. And you can just do amazing things. I mean, it really does come down to, to will and focus and, continuing forward.
I love it. It's really remarkable with that type of a mindset, what an entrepreneur can do. And, one thing that's very interesting, John, is you've been able to put together an amazing team, not only of technologists, but like you mentioned, customer support people that really care about your clientele and they really care about your clients and their businesses and their families. So when you hire somebody to come on board at your company, what do you look for? Is there one thing that sort of stands out above and beyond everything else of what you look for when you bring somebody on your team?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think, I think you're really looking for the internal engine of what drives an individual. And I like to work with people who have a drive, have an ambition, have that internal, motivation to achieve something and to problem solve. So I'm always looking to surround myself with those people. And, and I think that's what I've done. And, and then I think skills can be learned, knowledge can be learned, knowledge can be transferred, but that internal engine of, let's go accomplish something and let's go do something can translate into many, many things. You don't have to be a leader. You could be a customer support rep who just wants to have every interaction be positive and amazing. And that's and that's only there because there's an internal engine driving them. So, so I really try to find, the internal engine behind, a person and what drives them. And I've surrounded myself with those types of people.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I know I'm bouncing you around a little bit, but I wanted to get back real quickly just to the integration, because I'm thinking about it. There's going to be companies watching the show. They probably heard of your company. They want help with their planning, budgeting, forecasting, and reporting to become more efficient and certainly more accurate using your software called Planning Maestro. Mm-hmm. And they might be saying to themselves, well, what's the onboarding process look like? How long does it take to get this thing going? I mean, I'm ready. I've read all the reviews and I've read the awards and I'm ready to go. What's that look like, in terms of by the time someone contacts you before they're up and running?
Yeah. So it is, because we work with small, mid-sized companies, it needs to be simple. It needs to be quick. They don't have time, money, and resources and people to spend a lot of time with implementation. So I mentioned we have 20 partners, Microsoft, Intuit, NetSuite, Sage Intacct, Acumatica, and several others are the financial systems that we integrate with. So that process is really done very quickly in a matter of minutes. We can get that connection set up and off you go. And then it's really about learning how to, use the software. And we've got some nice self-paced training that you can follow. And then we also have the customer success team that I mentioned that will help them through. So you can really get, really through the process comfortably in the matter of, a few weeks, as, not as your full-time job, scheduling in time here and there, to learn the software and start building out your budget model. So it is a pretty easy and straightforward process. And, I think we put the right investment in to help with the knowledge transfer and, try to make the software as easy to use as possible.
Yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. And that's why you really are a leader in the field. Your company is a leader providing this type of software to so many small to mid-sized companies. And the roster continues to grow every single day as more people hear about what this software can do. So congratulations so much. I only have one final question, and I know I've kept you over a little bit here, John, but it's great to have you on the show. And I've heard so much about the software. When I knew I was going to get you on the show, I really, wanted to spend as much time as I possibly could, but I don't want to take up your whole day today. So what makes John Murdock go? When you wake up in the morning, John, as a CEO of this company and, so much responsibility, not only to your team, but the people using your software, what's the thing that you think about in the morning to kind of get you going as an entrepreneur? Is there one thing that sort of lights your fire and gets you moving in the right direction every morning?
Yeah, I guess it's a great final question. So what drives me back to that kind of internal engine is I like to create, I like to build, I like to, I like to be part of things that are that are evolving and innovating. And so I think what I wake up in the morning thinking about is, what can we create today? What can we add to what we're doing to kind of, to evolve? And I've always been a creative mind, and enjoyed all the different types of arts and creative styles. And now I've just brought that to business. So, I just wake up and I think about, creating every day and, what can we add and what can we layer on? And that's served me well through my whole career, even before I was a CEO and running a company. So that's what drives me. Yeah.
I love it. You really have the creative mindset, and that's really, really powerful as a CEO that wants to create every single day to create something great, not only within their company, but for their clients, and more importantly for their clients. And you've been able to do it so well. Your software is trusted by, 10,000 or more users, thousands and thousands of users throughout the world. You've won so many awards. Your testimonials are remarkable. You've really made it super powerful, but at the same time, quick and easy to use and set up, which is really an incredible combination where, it's so easy to set up, but yet it's so powerful at the same time. So you've really crossed two channels that really don't happen very often in the technology software space. And that's really one of the keys to your success. So, John, thank you so much for coming on and talking about Centage, what you're doing with the planning, budgeting, forecasting, and reporting system. Really, really a great system. We highly recommend it. We've taken a look internally at it, and just the testimonials are truly remarkable. The number of referrals you get on a daily basis is remarkable. So, John, I wanted to thank you so much for cutting some time out today and coming on the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today.
Hey, thank you so much, Andy. This has been great. Thanks for the time. It's been fun.